All right. Hey, Vincent.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. All
Where
good
are
here.
you? Where are you in Sardinia at the moment?
I am actually not in Sardinia. I'm in Spain right now, the south of
Okay.
Spain.
Well,
Yeah,
you're close.
it's very close.
You're close.
Climate. Yeah. Where are you?
I am in Chicago. I'm not in Florence. That's behind me, but I wish I was. But I thought we'd get on this call and talk about our upcoming trip, which we have never done together. And I wanted to introduce you to my community and vice versa. And do you remember how we met?
I think I do. Yeah, I think it was through LinkedIn first. No, that we
Yeah.
connected with each other, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, let's have a chat. This sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yes. And we talked consistently for like 3 months, I feel like, talking about this trip. So, and this is just this year we were talking about it. So, everyone that's watching and listening, like we have been diligently, apart from the 3 months we were very busy in the summer, we were diligently trying to create an experience that you guys will all love. And we want to share it with you, some of the highlights and some of the things that we think that is amazing about this trip. So Vincent, why don't you tell me about, because I've never been on the catamaran and I'm like so excited to be on it. And I've seen all the pictures and it's all on my website for those of you that haven't checked it out. Tell me about like a day in the life of being on a Sailing to Wellness / Truly Italy catamaran trip.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I think first of all, I think it's a very unique experience, and for people that never really been sailing before or just been on a boat before for longer than a day and actually sleeping on it, it's something completely different.
Mhm.
In my opinion, because I grew up with the water, and my parents had taught me how to sail from a very young age already. So I sort of got it in my DNA, so it was always part of me. But the beauty now of my profession and of running this company is that I can share my passion with other people. And this is also the
Mhm.
reason why I started Sailing to Wellness, is because we had this idea and started this with my business partner in the past. And we had this idea to combine the sailing feeling and the aspect and the concept of wellness and put it together. And
Mhm.
yeah, our first destination is actually Sardinia and Corsica. It's amazing spots to sail around, and
Yeah.
we really give people a moment to disconnect and recharge completely. I think that's what we
Yeah.
go on the trip with our company.
That is exactly what I want, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this is what they want, especially at the end of May. So not too hot, not too cold, right before summer. One of the questions that I got asked a lot when I started talking about this trip the past 6 months. So everyone was afraid that we're going so far away from the shore that, oh my God, what if there's a huge storm? And I assured them, which you can attest, that we don't go that far away from the shore. We're really close to both coasts of like Sardinia and Corsica. But maybe give us some like of the highlights of like what are the some of the stops that people and actually that you say like, oh my God, this is why we're doing this trip and where we want to see.
Let me first explain a little bit more about the safety and about the
Yeah.
feel of the boat, because I think this is a question that comes up a lot also from previous guests. We're doing this now for almost 3.5 years, give or take, and especially people that are going to be on the sailing yacht for the first time, they want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that it's going to be a comfortable journey, and not, if you're a bit more sensitive for motion sickness, is it for you, right? That's
Yeah.
the key question. This is the
Yeah.
reason why we are using a catamaran. We only charter. It's not my boat. We charter the boat from a company in Sardinia, and
Mm-hmm.
we use the best quality and the biggest possible catamaran that we can have. This means you have two separate hulls, keeping the
Mm-hmm.
boat much more steady in the water. So if there's a bit more rough weather or more waves involved, it doesn't move that much.
Okay.
However, we have people all the time on the board that are a little bit more sensitive for it, and
Yeah.
will make sure to double check with these people first. Are you
Yeah.
sensitive for it? Then we have precautions. So we have pressure braces that you can
Oh,
put on while we're underway, while we're saving in the boat moving a bit. And you have, for people that are a bit more sensitive, you have tablets to
mhm.
take before we go on the journey. And this is
Okay.
something I want to emphasize, and we already do this in the beginning of our trips, like a bit of like a briefing on how sensitive do you think you are, and then we can always make the precautions before we do our sail. And then in terms of how far do we sail away from like shore, and how close are we to shore
Mhm.
if something goes wrong, we're always going to be very close to the coastline, and we always make sure that the weather is good enough to sail out, and we would
Okay.
never go and sail into a storm. If that's the
Yeah.
case, we either go into the marina or find a safe haven in the lagoon nearby.
Okay. Okay. That's helpful. And that other part about the bracelet, which I did not know you had. So that's good to know. So I'm going to I'll say a little bit about my passion, because you said it was your passion. My passion is everything, anything Italy. And the two things I'm bringing to this trip, because Vincent does the rest, is that I do speak fluent Italian. I've been traveling on and off to Italy over 20 years. My husband's from Florence. We have a really strong connection with the people and the culture. The things that I know that I want to bring to this trip is about the Blue Zone. So we have a connection with a tour group that is based in Olbia, which is where we're starting, and we're going to meet with them and do a little tour of like the history of Sardinia that's nearby, and then go to a farmer's house and have some sheep cheese and see how he makes it. So that's the start of the trip, which I'm really excited about. Yes, so that's a little bit about me. Those of you that don't know me on Vincent's network. So let's talk about the let's talk about, obviously the theme of our trip is Blue Zone. So we already talked about that. The highlights, let's just talk about some of the highlights, and you're gonna go with that. Go for that.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I think there are like loads of highlights to actually point out, but I think to already give you an idea of what to expect, it's a very diverse trip, because we're not only staying in Sardinia, we're also crossing to Corsica. And Corsica is
Hmm.
part of France, so you get a little bit of French as well. We're doing 1 day in Corsica. Now, to
Okay.
give you an idea on what is the difference, now we're going to be visiting Bonifacio, and it's famous for its city being built up on a 70-meter high rock. So I think that's around 210 feet. I have
Yeah,
to calculate quickly in
it's
my head.
okay. No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah. So it's a super cool entry. It has this kind of fjord-like entrance when we go in there,
Wow.
and there's this staircase that goes all the way up to the medieval town there, and it really has
Hmm.
this Game of Thrones kind of feel to it.
Oh my
So just
God. Wow.
to give you already an impression of what I hear from a lot of our guests, what was your absolute highlight when you did our sailing trips? Like that trip, just like completed it by doing this extra like cultural visit to
Hmm.
so that's part of it. Now we're also visiting the Maddalena Islands. Those are
Yes.
UNESCO Heritage Islands, so they're absolutely gorgeous, all protected. Yeah,
Yeah.
picture a pearl white beach with this
Oh,
crystal clear blue
that's
waters where
amazing.
we can snorkel and paddle boards. And what we normally do is take our time early morning to visit it before it gets busy. Now, and we're fortunate to go really early in the season. Perfect temperatures to sail around, and
Yeah.
also it's not so busy in. So those are absolutely two big highlights to the episode.
Yeah. That sounds, I mean, I'm just like, I can't wait. We got to get people on this trip. Come on, guys. This is amazing. So overall, the trip, I want to just say out to everybody, the only thing you have to cover is your airfare to Olbia and your travel insurance. Everything else is covered by me and Vincent. The food on board, the food off board when we go off site as well. Let's talk a little bit about the food a little bit, just a tiny bit. So we're gonna focus on, we're gonna have a chef on board, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So the chef on board is gonna have, yeah, like their Blue Zone types of dishes, recipes, and that's going to be like a huge insight of how the culture is there, because we are going to try to be as authentic as possible, as my business and your business is like that, trying to be as authentic as possible, honoring the food, honoring the people, honoring the culture and the history of the area. So we will have breakfast and lunch on board. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then dinner is always off the boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a good thing, especially with our trip, to highlight is that we embrace to work directly with the source, the food source, and that's
Yes.
the farmer in Sardinia. And because of the whole, because we are doing a special focus on the blue zone and on the blue zone area of the island, we connect directly with those farmers that are growing those fresh vegetables and fruits, and we make sure that they bring them directly to our boat. And that's also something that we always try to do with our journeys, is try to educate people. So why are we eating this for breakfast? Why are we eating this for lunch? But we try to look at, okay, what are the functional ingredients that we're going to put in there, and how easy is it for people to take this home and actually use this. So we're even working right now on a cookbook as we speak to give this as a bit of a present back home when you take that as a delicious meals. I'd love to cook this back home. Now we're a bit more tangible kind of cookbook that you can use in the future as well. And that's part of the onboard meal plan. And then when we're going to bays, to anchor in a bay, for instance, we already selected most of the time the best restaurant there. It could be seafood. It could be the best pizzeria place in town with a good one. And then with some marinas, we give you multiple options. But for this specific trip, we have already organized everything. We already everything. So we create this kind of like family style, tapas style kind of dinners where we all come together and make sure you are tasting the best local dishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's people. This is like going to be an amazing trip. I and Stefano are really excited about this trip. And there's just so many other things that we're not mentioning because it's all on my website, trulyitaly.tours. If you are ready to book, you can contact me at katie@trulyitaly.tours. You could also, if you're in Vincent's network, you can email him as well. But I want to offer a no-brainer thing to only the people that are listening to this right now. If you book right now, before we end this call, which doesn't matter because it's recorded, but before you watch the end of this and you're ready to book, I am going to send you 3 of my favorite bottles of wine from my favorite vineyard in Tuscany on the house. You're not paying for it, okay? It is the most divine type of wine. It's not what I'm drinking right now. It's probably not what Vincent's drinking either. But it's Spanish wine, so it's different. But I really want you to understand that this trip is not about just going on vacation and just checking something off your bucket list. Like, this is something that you're going to remember. We are going to take our time, just like on all the Truly Italy trips that we've done. Take our time. It is just going to be the group of us. We're never going to be in a big group of people. It is going to be something that you'll never forget. There's only a few spots available. And we only have a few cabins on board. So it's not like it's like a cruise ship. So if you can, and you want to start the process of becoming one of the participants, all you have to do is contact me, katie@trulyitaly.tours, and we'll put down that $500 down payment and we'll get everything started. And then by the time before you know it, you're going to be on a boat, on a catamaran with Vincent and I and Stefano, if I bring him. Just kidding, I'm bringing him. And we're going to be in this amazing place and we're going to be early season, which is what Vincent says too. So there's not going to be a lot of boats and it's not going to be chaotic. I'm just like so excited. Any last thoughts, Vincent? Anything else to like tell people like, oh my God, come on.
I do think like, and there's also something that we got back from other guests, is that, for some people it's quite the investment, and
Hmm.
people that are emphasize that part before they book with me, because they schedule, we call it the captain's call, so they go with me,
Yeah.
where I really take them through the journey and give them an understanding what to expect. And then after that, if they're comfortable and like, yes, this is my trip, they book it. And then I always do a bit of an evaluation at the end of the trip, and I ask them, so what did you think? Do you think it was all worth it? Do you get what
Yeah.
you actually expect? And said it was so much more. It was the actual experience that, yeah, I couldn't even dream of it, because it was the first time I'm doing it on a boat. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that I definitely want to emphasize. It's a once in a lifetime kind of experience. We
Yes.
have thought of every little detail in this trip.
Hmm.
Everything is
Yep.
catered to the detail. And because we're both specialists in our areas, I think this is one of these, top notch kind of vacations and experiences that we are, now offering together. So
It,
I'm really excited.
it's amazing. And I'm gonna top that from what he just said. So he just said that he made sure that they understood what was going on. I'm gonna do the same. I do have a button on my page. If you want to have a call with me, we can discuss the details and everything. I'm offering, if you are not completely satisfied by the end of the trip, which I will check in with you every day, Vincent will do the same to see how you like it. I will give you $1,000 voucher for another trip, either with me and Vincent or just with Truly Italy. I mean, this is how bonkers I am right now. I'm like, I am giving you $1,000 if you're like completely unsatisfied by the end of the trip, which you won't be, because nobody on my trips have ever said at the end of the trip, oh my God, why did I spend this money? They're like, oh my God, why can't I come again? I need to come again, So two things: 3 bottles of wine from me, from my favorite vineyard in Tuscany. And I'm offering $1,000 voucher to anybody that isn't satisfied by the end of the trip. But if you're telling me throughout the trip you are very happy the whole time, you will not be getting that $1,000 voucher. Just so you know, I know you're going to be happy at the end. So, but yeah, let's.
And I think that I'll definitely back that. And I think if you don't want to take our word for it, and I'm
Mhm.
now after 3 years, I can finally say, like, I have finally last year as well, but it's building and building
Yes.
the testimonials. Go to the
Yeah.
TripAdvisor of Sailing2Wellness, and I think you also have a TripAdvisor where they write the reviews and testimonials. Have a
Yeah.
look what other people write about our experiences, so
Hmm.
you understand what you're booking. This is
Yeah.
like, we are standing. We want to give you a highest possible quality kind of experience.
Exactly.
That from my side, that would be the most convincing argument before I start doing
Yes.
anything.
Yes. And I would, yeah, hands down, look at his TripAdvisor. He's got a lot of reviews. I've got testimonials on this YouTube page, so listen to them. I've got more coming in as well. But yeah, it is time to go to Sardinia, people, and Corsica. But I've made it Sardinian trips. Truly Blue Sardinian Sailing Trips, the longest name for a trip. But I thought
It's
it's saying it to me. So, all right, we're going to end this. All right.
yeah.
So contact us, Katie at trulyitaly.tours, or Vincent at Sailing2Wellness. And we can't wait to have you on this beautiful catamaran.
Excited.
Yeah. Thanks, Vincent.
Ciao.
Ciao.